Hello, this discussion is going to be very brief on building materials and how it's changed over time, some of the things that we use now opposed from back then, and maybe some of the tactics and whatnot that we can use uh, to fight fire now opposed to how we might have fought it back then. I'm going to try to be brief. Like I said, my computer keeps shutting down after like 5 minutes of talking, so I want to do this one more time and that's it. Back in the day, shelters were used for the purpose of keeping a roof over your head, keeping your family safe. Now shelter is used. I'm not sorry. Buildings are used for everything. Advertising, restaurants, churches, shelter, summer home, a winter home. Buildings are used for everything, and the materials have changed. Back in the day, materials were what was indigenous to the area. That's what you used for your home, your structure. It was sticks, twigs. You might have made a log cabin. You might have used mud and clays, stones. There's just numerous different things indigenous to different areas that you would use, just the primitive materials from the area to make a structure. Now we use a lot of composites, a lot of plastics into the woods, a lot of adhesives into the woods, treated woods with plastics. There's just so many different materials that we're using that are composite now that it's ridiculous. I took my trip into Home Depot and took a look in the wood section, the lumber section, and I couldn't believe how many different chemically treated plywoods and woods and just how many different types of 2x4s there actually were. And the cost difference between those were pretty dramatic. Original just all wood 2x4 was almost 3 times as much as the composite stuff. It was outrageous. So, back in the day, you look from the floor up. The structure could have been just the ground underneath you, maybe palm fronds, maybe hay, if you're lucky. And that was used for function. Now, you have tiles, you have carpets, you have laminates, you have vinyl. Could have been stone floor. These things that we use now, we use for status symbols, for function, or just because it's the cheapest one available or available in the area. So it's changed a lot over the years, and we need to be careful now because of the chemicals in these materials, not necessarily the stones, but in the laminate and the vinyl and the carpets. So things we need to be aware of with fighting fire against those things in the flooring. Now the siding, over time, it would have been maybe just a wood siding or whatever you had available. Now we've got everything from wood siding to uh, fiber cement board, vinyls, stuccos, masonry. There's even I think they use glass and different things for siding as well now. There's just a lot of different things that we need to be aware of. The plaster boards and the gypsums and stuff that we use now need to be aware of as well, because once that stuff starts going, it spreads like wildfire. I mean, um, the wood siding that you had before would have been staying to an area of, where the fire is. Some of these chemical treated plasters and whatnot, it could move fire a little quicker. I understand gypsum's, it's a rated fire retardant and it's supposed to prevent it, but once these things go up, it's going to be an issue. Um, the truss structures, just traditional wood back in the day opposed to now, these lightweight trusses made out of 2x4s and chemically treated woods held together by gusset plates. Back in the day, those trusses, if one failed, the other was able to hold the weight of the structure. Now, once the truss system goes in a building, a more modern home, it's time to get the heck out of there because that building is coming down. So you got to be aware of that fighting fires as well with modern opposed to old construction that with the truss systems in place now. It's very dangerous. Older homes, hundreds of years ago, they were very heavy. The construction itself was very thick. The wood, it's not chemical treated, so it would burn, but it wouldn't burn as hot as the stuff burns now. So some of the things to be aware of. Something hundreds of years ago, it might have been a stone building, whereas we look at a stone building now, and it's not a stone building. It's just the veneering on the outside. So you got to be aware of that as firefighters as well. If you need to breach a wall, if it was a couple 100-year-old stone building, you're gonna, maybe knock that entire structure over. Whereas if you're coming at a veneer wall, you're gonna knock off the facing of that veneer, and then you're gonna have maybe block behind it or wood frame, or so something to be aware of when you're fighting fires like that. Insulations. Back in the day, an insulation might have been hay up in like a barn-style building or whatnot to keep you warm in the weather, or cool in the summers. Well, now we don't use hay. We use fiberglass, the pink insulations, and even the spray and foams are some of the things that we use now. And once again, once these things catch fire, they're going to be a chemical disaster nightmare for us to inhale. So always be aware to wear your SCBA, and I'm sure everyone's department that they work for make them anyway. So, if it was hay back in the day, it wouldn't be so bad inhaling that kind of a smoke opposed to the chemicals from a fiberglass or spraying foams. Even the roofings, the shingles now, the tars they use on the roofs, opposed to maybe it was palm fronds, or maybe it might have been clay or mud, in a primitive structure. These tars and shingles that are on top of the roofs, something else we got to be aware of when fighting fire. Same thing chemically, they're horrible for us. I'm going to keep at this. It's already at almost 7 minutes. So hope you like the discussion, and look forward to other posts. Thank you.